Hey, I am back. Yeah, so right after I stopped filming earlier, um, so I don't have my license again right now, and I will get to that part of the story. By the way, hopefully I was clear with my story earlier. I have to go back through and watch it. Obviously, I'm probably going to edit it some too. But I hope I was clear enough with everything that I said. If not, I'll clarify some other time. But yeah, after I stopped filming, I went on Google Maps to see when I had to catch the bus to go to group. It's really close to where I live. It's like if I could just get in my car and drive, it would take me like 10 minutes to drive there. It's really close. But since I have to catch the bus, it takes me a little bit more to get there. It takes me 10 minutes to walk to the bus stop. And then once I catch the bus, it takes about 15-20 minutes to get up the street. So it takes about like a half hour just to get there. It's just annoying. I can't wait to get my license back. Anyway, so I stopped filming and I checked what time I had to leave to go catch the bus to be on time for group. And I literally had to leave in a minute. It was like 5:08 when I looked, and it said I had to leave and start walking at 5:09. I was like, like, you gotta be kidding me right now. What? So I was like, well, I'm not gonna make that bus, but let me hurry up and get out there. Because buses are notoriously late. So I got all ready within like 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know, less than 10 minutes. Did my hair real quick. I didn't have it like this. I had it down and it looked alright, but I threw it back up when I got home. Ran out the door. Walked briskly to the bus stop. Did not run. Just walked briskly like I usually do. And right as I got to the stop, my bus that I needed to get on was pulling up, and I got there right in time. Like, I got there with a minute to spare. Because then, like, once I get off the bus, it's only like a 3-minute walk to my outpatient, so I got there just in time. But it was a little crazy for a minute. Anyway, so as I am telling the rest of my story, I think I'm gonna play with eyeshadow just so like I'm doing something and not just sitting here, and I want to play with eyeshadow. So I'm gonna figure out which palette I want to use first. I might use one of these, and I might use one of my North palette. I don't know. I think I'm gonna play with Smoke Show. Yeah, I'm gonna play with Smoke Show, I guess. Alrighty. So, to pick up where I left off, I know I ended the story when I called my counselor and told her the truth. Finally, I told her the truth. To go back a little bit, when I graduated the program back last October 2018, I got a bill because I didn't have insurance at the time, so I was paying out of pocket for that whole time I was in counseling, and I could have just went there for free. Like, I have insurance now and I pay for nothing, but that's besides the point. Anyway, so I got a bill when I was done going there. Probably like a month after I stopped going there, I got this bill. And it wasn't right. Like, it said that I went to groups on a day when there isn't even a group, or there wasn't back then. Now there is. So I called my counselor. This was mid-November. I called my counselor and I was like, hey, so I just had a question about my bill. Like, it's not right. Can you like talk to the financial people and like get it straightened out for me? Can you like double check and show them that I wasn't there?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." And then she was like, "So how are you doing? Have you used it all?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been using," because I didn't have to lie anymore. Because I had my license back, and I was like, "Yeah, I've been using," and she was like, "Oh," she knew I was using that whole time, and she was like, "Oh, like, how long did you wait to use before, like, after you stopped coming here?" Because, like, she knew I was lying, so she was just messing with me at that point. And I was like, "Oh, like, a couple of weeks," because I had only been out of the program for like 2 to 3 weeks at that point, and I was like, "Oh, like a week or so." And, we chatted for a minute, and that was it. So after I got fired, I hit her up, like I said, and, told her the truth finally. And I told her that I was literally, like, falling apart. Like, I was losing it. So, she asked if I wanted to make an appointment with her, and I said, "Yes, please, please." And I went and saw her, like, right away. So I got fired. I think I saw her, like, the next day or something. Or, like, 2 days later or something. Like, I got in there really quick. And I told her everything. I was honest about everything. I told her how I passed my drug tests. I explained everything to her. And, she was just really not surprised about anything. She just wanted to know, like, how I did everything, really. And so I saw her that day, and she asked if, like, my mom or either of my parents knew about me using, and I told her no. And she asked me if I was planning on telling them. And I said that I wanted them to know, but I didn't know how to tell them, and I didn't know if I was going to tell them. Like, I don't know if I personally would have told them. So she offered to call my mom for me and tell her what had been going on. And I gave her permission to. I was in her office while she did it. And I was sitting right there. So I heard everything that she said, and she was like, "Hey, to my mom, she was like, "So just wanted to let you know that, Paige is sitting here with me, and she wanted me to tell you that she's been abusing." Okay, I guess I'm gonna tell you what I had been abusing. She has been abusing morphine and Xanax for the past 2 years almost. And, that was really all I remember her saying. And then my mom, I had an appointment. I think I saw my counselor, like, every day that week for, like, the rest of the week, because I really, like, was not okay. And my mom came in for a session with me, and then the next day I ended up in the hospital. I had taken a bunch of Xanax and was drinking with it, and I called my counselor and I told her what I had done, and I wasn't with it. Like, I was in the clouds. So I thought I was just calling her to tell her, like, just letting her know, "Hey, just letting you know that I just took a bunch of Xanax, like a not okay amount of Xanax, and I'm drinking." And she asked me where I was, and literally earlier that day I told her where my buddy lived. Like, he had just told her his address that day when I saw her, earlier that day. And I told her where I was, and she talked to a counselor that was a little higher up than her, and that counselor called 911 and had an ambulance sent to where I was. And so that was a Friday. I went home on Monday from the hospital because I was just sitting in a hospital bed and I couldn't do it anymore. Like, it was just like ridiculous. There was nothing to do. I was just sitting there starting to go stir crazy. Like, it was too much. So I went home and I didn't use for, I think it was 2.5 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. And during those like 3-ish weeks, my counselor was trying to get me into an inpatient, and I was going back and forth with the idea. I knew that I should go, but I didn't want to, and I didn't know like if I was really gonna go. So I had a bed available for me. So late February at this time. I had a bed available for me. I didn't go, and then the next day I picked up and used. And I told my counselor, like, she knew that I didn't go. And I went and saw her again. You know, she was just like, okay, well, like, we can't just keep doing this. Like, you can't do this. She's like, you need more help than just me. Like, she worked at a non-intensive outpatient. So she was like, so if you're not gonna go inpatient, you have to go to an intensive outpatient because this isn't enough care for you. So I went to go get an evaluation done at an intensive outpatient. That lady that I saw there was awful. Awful. She asked me, you know, when the last time I had used was, and I was honest, and I said that morning before I went there. And she was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do a drug test because you used. And I was like, okay, that doesn't even make sense to me anyway. So she didn't do a drug test, and I made an appointment with her for a week later. And she said to me, she said, I don't care what you do all week. Use whatever you want, as much as you want all week, which is ridiculous. She's like, but don't use before you come in here next week. So I used the morning before I went and saw her, of course. And they made me leave my keys there because I drove there, and they made me leave my keys there, and I walked home. And, you know, I went and picked up my car the next day. I told my counselor, like, I can't go here, and it wasn't because they took my keys. Like, yeah, that annoyed me, but, like, the place was just so unprofessional. I was not gonna go there. So I went back and saw my counselor again. And I don't know really when this whole other hospital visit fits in. Like, it was in the beginning of March. It was March 4th. I got admitted to the hospital again. I just don't know, like, the exact timeline. I don't remember at this point. And, whoa, that is a lot more pigmented than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, so I ended up in the hospital again March 4th. I got admitted to my local emergency room, same one I had been to before. And this time they did not admit me to their hospital. They made me go to, like, a crisis unit, a psych crisis unit. And that place was awful. It was so bad. I was sexually assaulted while I was there. I was there for 2 days. I think I stayed overnight, 2 nights there. And on the 3rd day, they transported me to another hospital, an hour away from where I live, to a psych floor. And that was a good place. I was there for a week, but I just didn't want to be there. And the only way that they were going to let me out of that hospital was if I told them I was going to inpatient door to door. They weren't going to let me go home. But my mom was going to take me home and let me drive to inpatient myself. So she came and picked me up a week after I was admitted into that hospital. And this whole time I was at that hospital for a week, I talked to my counselor, like, all the time. Like, she would be doing work, I could hear on the computer, and she would be just, like, talking to me. She talked to me for, like, an hour a few times while I was in that hospital. And she actually, like, thought about coming to visit me because it was up near where she lives, but she didn't know, like, that was, like, the professional thing to do, so she didn't. What's the matter, baby? So I came home. I did not go to treatment that day, and I used that day. I got home from the hospital and used that day. So that's when it was, like, starting, I don't know, that was, like, March 14th. I don't know how I remember these dates, but I do. March 14th, came home from the hospital, used that day. Talked to my counselor, told her I didn't go. And that's really when she was like, okay, what are you doing? She's like, what are you going to do? She's like, I can't help you anymore. She's like, all I can do is refer you. You have to choose to go to inpatient. And I just didn't want to go. I did. I knew what the right decision was. But I just did not want to go. Like, never thought I was actually going to go. So another 2 weeks went by. I continued to use. And my counselor promised me one more referral to this place that she had been talking about for a year. Almost. Like, since I had been seeing her last time I was using her, before I fake graduated the program, she had been telling me about this treatment center up in the Adirondacks. That is a great place. It's up in the mountains. I love the mountains. I love nature. She said that she thought that it would be good for me. So, she put in the referral for me, and then it was up to me. If I was gonna go, I was gonna go, and if not, that was it, pretty much. Like, there was nothing else that she could do for me. So, I got a phone call from the treatment center within a week. Like, that week that she put in the referral, I got a call. They told me I had a bed available that following Monday, and they would come pick me up. I couldn't drive up there myself. They would come down to Albany and pick me up and drive me up there. So, I was really fighting with myself if I was gonna go or not. And then, 2 days before my bed was available at the treatment center, I got arrested. Because I was driving while I was high. And I was so mad at myself. I was so mad at myself. And that arrest is really what got me to go to treatment. Like, if I hadn't been arrested, I don't know if I would have went to treatment that day. And that day I actually had 2 beds available for me. I had one up in the Adirondacks. That's where I went. I also had one available for me out in Utica. So I got arrested, I had my car impounded, and that was a Saturday. So Sunday, the impound place was closed. I couldn't go get my car that day. So Monday, the day that my bed was available, my mom came and picked me up around 7:30 in the morning. We drove 40 minutes to where my car was, picked up my car, drove to Walmart on the way home, grabbed a few last things that I needed to go to treatment, just like toiletries and stuff, hair stuff, whatever, face wash. Finished packing, because I had all my clothes together. I just had to get toiletries together. Called my counselor. I told her I was so scared. I was so nervous. Finished getting my stuff together. Took my cat, drove up to my mom's house. She lives about 25 minutes away from where I live. Dropped my car off and my cat. Got an Uber. Came back down to Albany to the bus station and got picked up by the treatment center and went up. I'm gonna cry. Like, it saved my life. Like my counselor and that treatment facility saved my life. Like, I'm so grateful that I had that experience to go. I was only gonna go for 28 days. Most people go there for 90 days. Pretty much all of the girls I was in there with were there for 90 days. And I was like, heck no, I am not staying for 90 days. There is no way. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it 30 days. I was there for 3 weeks, and at the end of those 3 weeks, I was like, I cannot go home next week. There's no way I am ready to go home. So I tried to stay, and I ended up staying for 52 days. Going there and staying were probably the smartest things that I could have done. Like, I'm so glad that I stayed there. So glad. I met some amazing people there. The program was really intense, but like intense in a good way. And yep, stayed there for 52 days. My parents came and picked me up. I came home and I was so scared. I was just so nervous. I didn't want to deal with my court case that I had going, but I did. And it's been really hard. So like I said earlier, I am 8 months, 15 days clean. And it's been hard. It's been a struggle. Almost every day has been a struggle. But I am still alive. And I'm still working on myself. Treatment was amazing. Like my counselor kept trying to convince me to go, and she would ask me, what other time in your life are you going to be able to drop everything and work on yourself for a month? She would ask me that over and over, and that really sunk in. Like, no, she's right. Like, what other time in my life am I gonna have the opportunity to just work on myself? Like, that sounds crazy, but like, it's true. So, I have met some awesome people since I've been clean. And yeah, like I said, it has not been easy. I've had some really tough days. I've had some really awesome days. I've had days where I can never picture myself using ever again. And I've had days where all I can think about all day is just wanting to use. I have blocked my dealer and her phone number. And I have a job again. And I don't know, I have a new outlook on everything. I really do. I know it sounds cliche, but like, I never would have imagined that I could do it. Ever, ever, ever. I have been using something almost every day of my life since I was 15, and I'm 29 now. Like, I would have never thought that I could go more than 2 weeks without any mind-altering substance, besides caffeine. Is that mind-altering? Who knows? I just never thought it was possible. But it is. And one of the reasons I'm talking about this is because I know there's other people. I know there's plenty of other people out there who have these struggles. And I just want to let you know that you can do it if you want to. It's probably going to be one of the hardest things that you've ever tried to do and ever will do. But it's so worth it. And I wake up every day feeling physically good. Mentally is getting there. It's a long process. And I'm not afraid to say it. I am on Suboxone. And I'm not ashamed. Because it could be saving my life right now. I think it is. I really think it's saving me right now. And if I have to take something so I don't abuse other things, I'm gonna do it. I am going to do that. So that's most of my story. I know I'm probably skipping over a lot of stuff, but I think that's all I'm gonna tell for right now. And my story isn't over. It is not over. I think I'm gonna end this video by reading a poem that I wrote right before I left treatment. Let me go get it. Alright. So this was my second notebook from treatment. Because we did assignments all the time. And these assignments were awesome. Okay, I have to read the out of order one. It's okay. It's called Making Changes. So, here we go. One day I woke up and started to think, maybe today I'll have just one drink. So I opened my cupboard and reached for a glass, because I knew that the thought just would not pass. But if I have a drink, I'll also want a pill, even if they make me oh so ill. When I finally felt high and the bad thoughts went away, I also knew these decisions would soon make me pay. When I awoke the next morning, I knew I should stop, but I had another pill in my hand, ready to pop. I tried to do this alone, but needed support. I wanted to get clean before I cut my life short. My counselor promised one last referral, just one more chance. I didn't even think twice, as if I were in a trance. I jumped in the van as if in a hurry, even though I was nervous, my head full of worry. When I arrived at St. Joe's and started to work through the program, I realized I should love myself just for who I am. The assignments are hard and the group's really tough, but it wouldn't be worth it if I didn't find it rough. I worked very hard and put in as much effort as I had, even when I had to think about things that made me sad. I came for a month but tried to stay longer. I thought more time here would help me grow stronger. Although I'm scared, I'm excited to go home. Back to Albany I go, the place I always roam. My time at St. Joe's is coming to an end, but there are many meetings out there waiting for me to attend. I'm leaving here soon, the magical place on the hill, knowing I am worth much more than a little pill. And I actually read that at the facility every Sunday. It was called Sunday services, but it wasn't like religious. Like, you would just have to sign up. Oh my god. Really? Come here. Oh no, I just broke my glasses. Shoot. I wonder if I have super glue. Oh no, I need these. That like really sucks. I can still wear them, I guess. That sucks though. Damn it. Oh, now I have to make an appointment like tomorrow. Oh, that was my fault. I was trying to pick up my kitty. Damn it. Anyway, we had Sunday services. And you had to sign up, but you could do like pretty much anything within reason. It had to be approved, but you could read poetry that you wrote, or they would look you up a poem if you wanted them to. They would because we didn't have internet access, we couldn't use our phones, we didn't have any kind of like technology, but they would look up stuff for us and they would get us lyrics. So you could read a poem, you could sing a song, you could play music, you could do pretty much anything like artistic. So I read that at my last Sunday services while I was there, and the CEO was there. I saw him at two Sunday services, and he just happened to be at that one randomly. The other one he was at was on Easter, so he just went to this one randomly, and usually he leaves early when he goes. He just leaves early. And for whatever reason, he stayed until the end at that one, him and his wife. And he came up to me at the end, after we, did our little, whatever we did, I don't know. And he chit-chatted with me, and he was, he told me, how much he loved my poem, and his wife really liked it too. And he asked me for a copy of it, and he was like, do you have an extra copy on you? And I was like, actually I do, because I rewrote it. That was the rough draft. That's where the extra copy went, I guess. And I was like, I do. So I gave it to him, and he was like, oh cool. So I put out a newsletter every week, and I'm gonna put your poem in the newsletter. Is that okay? And I was like, that is so awesome. Yeah, I would love it. So I actually looked it up today randomly. I was on the bus on the way to outpatient. Oh yeah, I didn't really talk about that. So I'm in an outpatient again. After I got out of treatment and I came home, I wanted to continue working with the same counselor, and I did. Even though they wanted me to go to a more intensive place because I was getting out of inpatient, whatever, I did end up working with my same counselor for think 2 months, and then she unfortunately got a new job because she was commuting like an hour or more to get to work every day. So she got a new job, and I got a new counselor at the same place. And she's awesome. I really, really like my counselor a lot. She's really nice. But at the same time, I kind of wish that I could have kept working with the woman who literally saved my life. But yeah, so I go there almost every day. Usually go there Monday through Thursday. I see my counselor twice a week individually, and I go to 4 groups a week. I can go to 5 if I want to, but I usually go to 4 unless I'm working. And it's voluntarily. I feel like if I wasn't already in there, it would have been court mandated again. But since I was already going there on my own, like, they didn't mandate me to go because I was already there. So yeah, that's really all I have to say for right now. Excuse me, I can't believe I just broke my glasses. So I have to call and make an appointment. I had to do it anyway. I literally was just thinking about it earlier. Like, I need to do it anyway. I really need new glasses. Now I really need new glasses. And I really need contacts. I have been wearing the same pair for way too long. Anyway, thank you for watching this video / ramble. If you got to the end, really, really thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of it. And I hope that it showed you another side of me, and that I'm crying. And that addiction really can affect all different sorts of people. All different people. When I was in treatment, there were people of all ages, from all different areas, and we were all different, but we had one thing in common. We were addicts. But addiction really can affect anybody. So, if you or somebody you love has an addiction problem, please get help. Please get help. There is another way to live. You're going to have to put work in, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Like, and you're gonna have awesome days, and you're gonna have not so awesome days. But saving your life and living and not just surviving, because when you're using, you are just surviving. You're not living. You're just alive. So there is another way to live. Please get help. Please. There are people out there who want to help and that have your best interest. Yeah. Like, no, there are people who really sincerely want to help, and it's their job, but they're doing it because it means something to them too. I want to go back to school. I have a bachelor's in psychology, but I do want to go back to school and get a degree in counseling, and hopefully work in an addiction center of some sort. Inpatient, outpatient, I honestly, like, don't care. I just want to help people who are going through what I have and am still going through. So I know this video is very different from everything else I've posted, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope this doesn't deter you from watching other things that I post to my channel. And that's about it. I do have more makeup stuff coming. I filmed something last night that I just have to edit up, and that is about it. So subscribe if you want to see more unboxings, reviews, and hearts such as this one. Have a good day and reach out if you need it. Bye.